as established earlier, it's been a very interesting political scenario in 2025 with a lot of twists and turns. And some of those turns came through during an conversation over the weekend when Mr. Peter Obi announced that he will be on the ballot. And not just that, he says he's not going to be a running mate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. And so what is the implication of that position, especially when you now set it against the backdrop of his reported planned decision to defect to the ADC today? We await that event, which would, of course, also cause a lot of reactions in the coming days. But let's look at the implications of this. And joining us on the program now is one whom you always, of course, enjoy his analysis where politics is concerned. Public affairs analyst Mr. Jide Ojo joins us virtually today on the program. Mr. Ojo, it's good to see you again. And I love your hat. Happy New Year in advance to you, Mr. Ojo.
Happy New Year, Bukola. Happy New Year, Kayode, and Happy New Year, Nigerians. It's a pleasure to be on your program, the last edition for the year.
And so it's been an interesting political trajectory for the former Anambra State Governor, Mr. Peter Obi, from APGA to the PDP, and now to the ADC, according to reports. Has this been inevitable for you, following developments that have shaped his career in 2023?
Well, one thing about politics is, as we all know, it's a game of interest. There is no permanent friendship or enmity in politics. It's a game of interest. People who are involved in politicking are not doing it for the sake of charity. They want to win power, and whatever will give them power is what they go after. Peter Obi came like a meteor, a kind of probably unseen to the political scenario of Anambra way back in 2003 when he contested to be governor under the All Progressive Grand Alliance. Prior to that time, if anybody knows him, they know him as a banker, as a businessman, and a business octopus of sorts, but not at the national level. But he took Anambra by storm, won the election, even though allegedly it was rigged out. For about 3 months, he fought his way through the courts, got reinstated, and that enabled him to govern Anambra State for 8 years. And after that, he tried to install a crony as a successor, which he did. Willie Obiano came after him. He was very influential and very instrumental to the emergence of Willie Obiano as a successor, because Willie Obiano happens to be, if I'm not mistaken, executive director of the Fidelity Bank, where Peter Obi has interest. And at the end of the day, he got in there, but soon after they fell apart, and during the re-election of Willie Obiano, he decided to support another candidate to succeed Willie Obiano. Now he has moved to PDP, and he didn't succeed. Willie Obiano ended up doing 8 years. And from that moment on, Peter left PDP again, moved to Labour Party in May 2022, and contested the presidential election. Now, whether it's a right move for him to join ADC, the question is, why delay for 6 months? ADC was unveiled on July 2nd, 2025, and he had to get an ultimatum for him to defect or lose his chances for him to come up with a decision to defect today. And when he said he will be on the ballot, that is a very pregnant word to use, because there will be primary election before you can be on the ballot. So perhaps he knows what we don't know. Maybe the negotiation has been concluded that Atiku Abubakar will step down for him and then that will pave way for him to be the presidential candidate of ADC. Because I actually watched Senator Abaribe on your evening program, Politics Today. Was it last week or sometimes recently, where he said there's going to be a game changer in 2027. And he said Nigerians should watch out. So Peter Obi declaring for ADC today could be part of the game-changing joker. But I'm curious, why did he want to declare in Enugu and not in Anambra? Because if he's declaring, it is presumed that he will have gotten his membership card in Onitsha, where he usually votes. He's said to be from Onitsha area of Anambra State. So maybe what we are going to see is a kind of carnival-like situation, whereas he either has surreptitiously joined the ADC in Anambra, or we do so after today's declaration. But we want to see, I believe it's going to shake the political climate in 2027 to have P2B joining ADC. And something bothers me a bit. I thought by now INEC will have licensed the 8 pre-qualified political parties, among which is ADA, which everybody had thought was going to be the party that opposition wanted to coalesce under to contest. But up to today, after about 2 months of announcement of pre-qualification, INEC is here to officially license those 8 political associations out of 172 that have applied to it. INEC is here to formally announce whether they have succeeded or they have not. But be that as it may, P2B is taking off the gauntlet, is officially declaring for ADC today from what we have had. And unfortunately for him, his governor brother in Abia, Alex Oti, said he's not going to be joining him in ADC, that he wants to stay back in Labour Party and rebuild the Labour Party. So we'll wait to see how many people will be officially joining ADC with P2B today. Maybe there will be some serving House of Reps, Senator, or even Governor among those who will be defecting to ADC. Because one thing that has happened, which I consider a kind of anticlimax, was that in the last 6 months of unveiling ADC, the party has not been able to attract any serving governor, senator, House of Reps, or even state House of Assembly member. All you hear is, oh, former this, former that, ex this, ex that has joined. So what are they afraid of? Is it that they don't have confidence on that platform of ADC as a vehicle that can lead them to political survival in 2027? But all of that may be about to change when Peter joins ADC later today, if what we are hearing is anything to go by.
So plotting the political map now, again, some of these things can be very tricky when it comes to politics in Nigeria. The APC has succeeded in converting almost all opposition governors to their side. And we know the kind of powers that governors wield. Yes, it's not the people, but the governors. Ironically, the state where he's expected to declare, Enugu, is an APC state, right? It used to be PDP, but he defected to the APC. I know it's been said that he chose Enugu because it's like the historical capital of the southeast and all of that. But in actual fact, when the rubber meets the road, does ADC still look strong enough to really give the APC a run for its money?
Well, it's $1 billion question. I wrote in my column in the Punch newspaper, July. I said, APC, watch your back. ADC is coming. But in the 6 months, I've waited with bated breath to see, like in 2013, recall that after the coalition that formed APC, before the end of 2013, APC got its registration July 31, 2013. By the end of that year, we have a lot of serving governors, senators, House of Reps, State House of Assembly members joining the APC. But we haven't seen that with this ADC coalition. Is that deliberate? Is it that it's strategic? Are the serving members weighing their chances? Is it the fear that there could be a backlash if they declared openly to support opposition? I was even expecting that my governor in Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, after the pushback from APC people in Osun, that he will actually join ADC. But the reason being that the National Secretary of APC, ADC, former Interior Minister, and holding that kind of powerful position, I thought that may be an alternate platform for Ademola Adeleke. But lo and behold, it's just to go to a Accord Party rather than going to ADC. So what exactly are they afraid of? Is it the Atiku Abubakar phenomenon? People have said, oh, forget it. ADC is a platform for Atiku Abubakar in 2027. Perhaps Kayode and Bukola may be part of the intrigue, maybe for to catch the ruling party unaware. Maybe there is a kind of alliance or understanding that Atiku Abubakar will not run in 2027, and therefore will throw his weight behind Peter Obi, in which case the road will be clear to have, even if anybody, whether it's Amici or any other person, contest with Peter Obi in ADC. The chances of Peter clinching the ticket is higher if Atiku is not running. But if Atiku runs, it then means that it will be a battle of, it will be a kind of rumble in the jungle between two titans who were actually candidate and running mates in 2019 before Peter chose to leave PDP and join Labour Party in 2022. So people are also insinuating that if Atiku does not step down, given the fact that Atiku has a very deep pocket and is very generous when it comes to party primaries, there are founded allegations that he is a very good, cheerful giver when it comes to party primaries. And given the fact that Peter Obi always said, they give shishi. So if you don't give shishi and somebody is ready to do that, maybe that would be, nothing is confirmed. These are all speculations. Nobody has been effectively said they have evidence that this man actually induced delegates. But it's what's in the public domain, that if Atiku is if Atiku and Peter Obi are contesting for the same ticket in the same party, the chances of Atiku Abubakar clinching the ticket is higher than that of Peter Obi. But if the understanding is that, oh, don't worry, we'll just keep them guessing when the time comes, and this is going to be a convention that will still take place around middle of 2026. Although Bolaji Abdullahi has said that there will be two conventions of ADC next year. One would be to firm up and the National Working Committee to firm up their NEC agents of election. And so we have that maybe earlier in the year, and then the party convention for election of presidential candidates around June or July. So it's all going to be at the level, at the realm of speculation for the time being. But suffice to say that I think the last 6 months, Peter Obi has used it to negotiate and to kind of come to an understanding with the leadership of ADC. And perhaps he's now convinced that he wants to come out in the open to identify with the party that everybody has rumored he has affinity with now.
And then speaking of, party primaries and securing delegates, sadly, that is another narrative that may inevitably shape the 2027 elections. And, to add to that, the House of Reps did reject a proposal to criminalize inducement of delegates during party primaries. But we'll see how that goes. You did say something earlier that, one cannot ignore in response to Mr. Peter Obi's comment that he will be on the ballot in 2027. And you said he may know something that we do not know. Speaking of which, if that were to be the case, is that a form of political, I don't want to call it suicide now, but a prediction of what the outcome of the 2027 election may be in a loss for him? Because earlier on, Kade was saying that the votes of Atiku Abubakar and that of Peter Obi in 2023, if put together, would have resulted in an election victory for that joint candidacy. So is it a wrong decision that Mr. Peter Obi has made by extension by rejecting the purported proposal, to run as running mate with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar?
Well, that's why I said perhaps Peter Obi knows what I don't know, what you don't possibly know. That he has had an understanding with the leadership of ADC that when the time comes, Atiku Abubakar will step down for him to be the candidate, which is why he has the confidence to say he will be on the ballot. Because I don't see him, if he's not that confident, I don't see him jumping ship. If he declares today for ADC, and maybe next week or sometimes in January, INEC license new set of political parties, I don't see him jumping from ADC in such a very little time to go and be the presidential candidate under any other party. And Obedient Movement, from what we learned, have warned him that they will not vote for him if he's a running mate with Atiku Abubakar. And I know for a fact that in terms of politics, Atiku Abubakar is more experienced than Peter Obi. And what I've also heard from the grapevine is that the negotiation, part of the negotiation could be that Peter Obi will do one term. If Atiku steps down for him, it becomes a presidential candidate of ADC, and they are able to win the 2027 presidential election, that he will do one term so as to pave way for a northern candidate, not necessarily Atiku Abubakar, in 2031. And you can see that permutation seems to fit into the narrative. Peter Obi was one of the first set of people, almost 5-6 months ago, that said, I will do only one term if I'm given the opportunity to serve as president of Nigeria, that he could do a lot within 4 years. But people said it's a gambit, and that's what has also pitched him against the Obedient Movement. That look, if you are not going to be able to do 2 terms of 8 years, why wasting our time voting for you to only go and do 4 years? You are not going to be able to achieve much. In 4 years, the rot is very deep in Nigeria. But because, and that's why people have said that Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, 3 of them who has openly declared that they are going to do one term, that they are very desperate for power, and that they want to use that as a gambit to oust President Bola Tinubu. But by and large, it is what it is. Politicians have vested interest, and interest is #1 priority on their checking list. So it all depends, and don't also be deceived about the pilgrimage into APC that we have seen in 2025. The point is, I foresee an implosion in APC, which will lead to a lot of mass an exodus out of APC after the primaries of 2026. There will be party primaries, and many who have thought that they will either get automatic tickets or they will be in pole position to get tickets to the contest in 2027 will become disenchanted, and many of them will be seeking alternate platform to realize their ambition. So implosion is inevitable in APC. And perhaps that's the calculation of the ADC. The acronym sounds similar, isn't it? Yeah. So sometimes you are calling APC and people thought you are talking ADC.
And
but
that is maybe...
it's not part of the game. That's why they always look for, even accord. They know that in the pecking order, when ballot papers will be designed, it will be according to the alphabet.
The alphabet, right.
A, B, C, D, E, F, Z. So by and large, it's a waiting game for us,
right.
Analysts and media practitioners. We see what they unveil in the coming days and weeks and months.
Yeah, so interesting. As you said earlier, APC, watch out, ADC is coming. Let's see how it turns out. And we missed Jeffrey on this one. Jeffrey would have said as long as they give us talking points continuously. But we must thank you very much, Mr. Jide Ojo, for coming on the program. Mr. Jide Ojo is a public affairs analyst and columnist.
It's a pleasure. Happy New Year in advance. Keep safe and stay blessed.
Happy New Year in advance to you too. Kade, you have the next one. We're on to the next talking point already.
Right, we'll take a break now. When we return, we'll bring you the next talking point. Stay with us.